Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Real Housewives of Miami, Season 1, Episode 2. You guys, I forgot how good Miami is. I'm really enjoying this rewatch. So much going on, so much drama with the ladies, so much fun. I really enjoyed this series and I'm super excited to talk about it, so let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. So we start out at Adriana's house. Now, if you remember, the night before, Larsa, and Cristy had gone out dancing. So she was talking about dancing with the guys, but that she always comes home to Frederick. She then tells them that they dared her to walk the catwalk. So, of course, she did it. She's very proud of herself for this. And she says, I did it, and I did it like a pro. And he says, they must have been so jealous. And she says, Cristy and Larsa still have that high school mean girl side to them, where they're nice to your face, but they're nasty behind your back. And I gotta agree, they kind of come off that way. So then we go over to Lea, and if you remember, she does this annual charity event. So it's getting close, she's getting ready, she's coordinating the gift bags, and it's the Black's annual gala. They plan to raise they try to shoot for at least $1 million raise. She said she works from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. for about 3 months leading up to the gala. She has 3 assistants who help her. Marysol handles the red carpet and the press releases for the event. Adriana is on the committee. She's been on there for about 45 years, and she donates art. And she says she buys a ticket as well for $500, even though she's on the committee. This is all going toward what happens with Cristy later, but Lea said she buys a ticket. Even her husband, Roy, buys a ticket. Everybody buys a ticket, $500. They work on getting luxury items to auction off for the event to help raise money. They get things like Rolls Royces and Bentleys and spiders and things like that. And these fabulous trips and all kinds of cool stuff that they auction off to earn money for the charity. Then we go over to Alexia. Remember, she is executive editor of Venue magazine. It's something she owns with her husband, Herman. And Herman's son from a previous marriage, Herman Jr., her stepson, is the editor. She calls herself a socialite during this meeting. It's kind of ridiculous. I like Alexia. I'll start by saying that. But sometimes she's very full of herself. She talks about herself like, I'm famous, I'm a socialite, but I'm also an editor. And she's explaining that she doesn't care what Herman Jr. is saying. It's my magazine, and I'm going to book who I want, because he's telling her, well, maybe think about this or that. And she won't hear of it. It's her magazine, her idea. That's how she wants to do it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of juicy information here. I kind of did a deep dive, and I remember this coming out in the press. So, of course, in real life, after all this, what happened is, unfortunately, her husband Herman passed away. So I found this article in the Miami Herald from 2017 so after Herman passed, this son, Herman Jr., as well as another son that Herman Sr. had named Nelson, they sued Alexia to get her out of the house and away from the cars and stuff like that. She countersued. So it sounds like things got really ugly after Herman passed away. Herman passed away of a heart attack, I believe it was around 2016, and the house was the feud is about between Alexia and the stepsons. They are saying that basically Herman bought the house alone before he even met Alexa, or maybe not before they met, but they were not married, and his name alone was on the deed. So, yeah, she countersued and she wanted exclusive rights to the house. So what sucks is they were separated at the time of his death. and she blamed it on a midlife crisis. And the lawsuit was dismissed, and sounds like the estate, all I can find is being debated. I did find further information that the house has gone in foreclosure. So, not sure what happened there, but that's kind of crazy, huh? So then we go over to Cristy's house. Now remember, this season, each of the ladies is getting the other ladies over at their house. They're having either a lunch or a dinner. They're having a chef brought in to make something special for all the ladies. So since Cristy is Cuban, she wanted to have an authentic Cuban chef come in. And Lea does a talking head where she says, my day is so full for me to take 2 or 3 hours for a luncheon is unheard of. So she's not able to make it. Cristy and Alexia, turns out they went to the same high school. And around the same time, they both fell in love very young, she says. Marysol calls in. She's in back-to-back meetings, so she's not going to be able to make it either. So, unfortunately, people are jumping out of this lunch. But the chef cooking. So, okay, I don't even know how to say his name, but he's a chef. He's Cuban, and he tries to make it special and fun for all the ladies. But I did think that was a little weird. So everybody's complaining. Larsa bugs me. I'll start there. Okay, so Larsa's complaining because she's like, this chef is cooking in a crock pot. Okay, in fairness, I'm not a fan of Larsa, but why is he cooking in a crock pot? He looks like he's making all these dishes, but then he tosses all this stuff in a crock pot, and I was just a little surprised. That's something that normal people do. That's something that I do all the time, but I'm not a chef. So I think the benefit of having a chef is you don't have to use a crock pot. So I think that's the point. It was just a little strange. It's a beautiful home with a nice pool area, so they all go sit out by the pool. They sit around the table. At that time, Adriana has to take a call, and it's about her son. So she explains that her son's school is letting out a little early today. She totally forgot about it. And so she's trying to figure it out. Later we find out she was like 40 minutes from the school versus Frederick is about 10 minutes from the school. So he's getting out early, and she and Frederick fought about this. And she keeps saying, he hung up on my face. He hung up on her when they were fighting. And Cristy says, typical Adriana, it's my luncheon, making it about her and her drama. So she's on the phone a lot. She's on the phone with the teacher, who's pissed because the teacher's having to wait back with Alex, her son, while somebody tries to come and get her. Larsa and Cristy both say that Frederick should be kissing her ass and she should throw him out. Alexia says she can relate, that Frederick came through for her and ended up picking up the son, Alex. So, Larsa and Cristy have like 10 nannies. What are they talking about? Cristy does this whole thing saying, does he understand your worth? Does he make your bread rock? That very much dates the show. Alexia says, you have a choice. You aren't married to him yet. And Adriana says, the person I'm in a relationship with has to be loving to my son. Otherwise, I can't be in that relationship because my son comes first. So then it's that evening. We go to Adriana and Frederick's house. They talk about Alex and what went down today. And she said she was stressed. She was 45 minutes away. Frederick was only 10 minutes away. And said Frederick can be moody. He's very French. They're infamous for their moods. And then she says, sometimes I get his French moods and he gets my Brazilian side, like her fiery temper. And Frederick's telling her, I will always be there. I will always care for Alex. And she says it's hard when we're working things out because she knows Alex is attached to Frederick, and it would be very hard for him if they split. So that's something she takes into consideration. I think that's why I like Adriana, is because, she's a little crazy, but she does seem to truly love her son and put him first, and I appreciate that about her. She's trying to make a nice life for him. So then after that lunch, Alexia was kind of feeling for Adriana and all the stuff she's going through, so she invites her over to her house. Alexia says Cristy and Larsa, they have so many people that can help them. They don't understand her situation. Alexia's been where Adriana is, and neither one they say they don't have people to help them. And they talk about how hard it is to take care of their families and put their children first. And Alexia jokes that she wants to come back as a man because it's so much easier. All you have to do is make the money. Adriana is happy because finally she found somebody, Alexia, who understands how it feels to have these kind of responsibilities. The other women just don't seem to get it as much. Okay, then we go over to Larsa's house. So this is where my dislike of Larsa began. I remember this vividly. So she's hanging out in her closet, right? And she's talking about how stressed she is because she's packing for Disney to go with her family. Okay. She's packing to take the kids to Disney World. Her mom lives in Chicago. She said anytime she needs help, she calls her mom. Her mom jumps on a flight and comes down. So her mom's hovering around. We'll see her in a little bit. So she's here with her son. And this is a thing with Larsa. She talks about her nannies and how much she hates them. It's so weird. So her and her mom get in this weird catty power trip thing where they talk about how none of the nannies can do anything right, and they call them Miss Turtle. And she says, Larsa's saying, my mom loves to criticize my help. Sounds like they both love to criticize the help. It's such a weird power trip. They talk about firing Miss Turtle, the nanny, and her mom says she doesn't mind firing the nanny, and they laugh about it, and they high five. And the mom is like feeding into Larsa's ego, saying, you do all the things the nanny should be doing anyway. I mean, it's just so ridiculous and kind of disgusting to see the way they're talking about the nanny, the woman taking care of her kids. I understand if you don't like your nanny, sure, find a new one, let them go. But to high five over it and be so excited like this, her and her mom to be so happy to fire this woman is kind of disgusting. It just really turned me off. I remember back in the day. I felt it again now. No, thank ya. I'm just glad she's just on this season. Okay, so we go over to Lea's. It is, she's getting ready for the event. And she's still in her regular clothes. She says she runs up about 15 minutes before the event and gets ready. See her joking around with Joe Francis. He really creeps me out. I'm sure you know who he is, but if you don't, he's the one that did, like, the, what was it, 90s, 2000s Girls Gone Wild videos. It's kind of disgusting. Yeah, so he was her husband's client, and that's how they met. So she said before she likes to gravitate toward messy people, and there you go. We go over to Marysol getting ready. She's getting her makeup done. She says Lea is so great at, talking to people and raising the funds that she needs to do. And the event apparently started out of Lea's house, and it's grown and grown, and now it has over 800 people who attend. Then we go over to Lea, and she's getting ready. Oh, P.S. Before we go over, what did you think about this? I know it's dated, and these are old, but I love the way Marysol looked here. There's Mama Elsa, but I love this dress. I do. I love the big bow. I like how they did her hair. It's a little crazy. It's kind of poofy, but she looks beautiful, stunning. I mean, that's a fantastic dress on her. I really liked it. Lea, not so much. She's a beautiful lady. I hate her fashion. I always do. All her fashion choices, I'm just not a fan. I like her personality. She's a lot of fun, but don't love the fashion. Her hair's a mess. Her dress is a mess. That's a lot of necklaces going on. A lot of stuff happening here. Not my favorite look. Okay. So, let's see here. She keeps talking about how bad the economy was back then. Wow, I really wonder about today's time, how bad our economy is, and like with all this terrible stuff going on. And is the gala still going? I want to Google that. Okay. So we see people arriving. It's the evening of the event. People are arriving. We see people like, let's see, Gloria Estefan, Natalie Cole, all these photographers, and Alexia is saying Lea's gala is the place to be seen. So we see her photograph. She looks gorgeous. I love that dress on her. It's so beautiful. And are you ready, guys, for my favorite sighting ever? Look, it's Kim Zolciak and DJ Tracy Young. Remember when those two crazy kids were in love? Yeah, look at Kim's hair. Look at everything, her body language. She didn't even know who Lea was. We see a flash real quick where Lea's like, hey, I'm Lea. I'm the one that invited you. And she's like, oh, okay. We see a flash where Adriana has trouble getting in. So the reason they're showing this, I believe, Adriana's on the committee. She's paid the $500 for herself and $500 for Frederick to get in. She's making a big deal about how tough it is to get in with the security. Roy ends up having to come up and rescue them and let them in because they're supposed to be there. Okay, so again, this is about to come up with Cristy, which we'll talk about in a second. But also, with the security option, they're even making Lea wear a special band so she can get in and out of the event. She hides it under her watch. But she says at first, this is ridiculous, but then she's like, we need good security. So, again, all interesting points, definitely shown by the editors to see where we're going next. So Roy gets up on stage, and he starts off the whole event with his speech. Then Lea goes up to help with the auction. She said she likes to do it herself because she knows what everything is. So Herman starts bidding on a car, and Alexia keeps saying, no, I don't even like the car. And he still just wants to buy it for her for funsies. That's when we see Cristy show up. You're going to see some blurry pictures here because that's how they were shown on TV, because I think she was trying to sneak in. So Cristy shows up. She explains that she had a flat tire on the way to the event, but she wanted to show up and give her support. She said, I always have a good time. So they get in. I even wrote they get in somehow. They explain it later, so I'm not going to ruin it now. But they get in, and it looks like people's backs were turned when they got in. But Lea talks about the auction. She said she knows all the experiences. She knows all the big bidders. She knows where they are. So she's trying to earn as much possible for the charity. Cristy's making her way around the room, and soon after the bidding, Lea is made aware that Cristy is there, and she is not happy. So the cameramen are following Cristy around, and Lea, when she's made aware that she showed up with two friends, Lea says, okay, then we'll just invoice them for them. And meanwhile, Cristy is saying, all the people that buy tables, those are my friends. My intention is to be there for a short time and then go home. And Lea is still talking about invoicing them. She says, it's for at-risk youth. Who needs the money? And that is how the episode ends. Wow. We see a flash the next time. We see Adriana is having a stressful art show. So we'll get into that. I remember that being a big deal. Lea talks to Cristy about not showing up. Cristy says she should be paying me to show up. Man, Christy's full of herself, isn't she? And then we see Adriana yelling at a guy at her art gallery. I remember she gets into it with a patron at the art gallery. So should be lots of fun. I can't wait to talk about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to check out all my other shows. I'm covering so many different things. I'm really enjoying getting into this Miami stuff. It's so much fun. I'm working on Ladies of London Season 2 as well. Some throwbacks, some blasts from the past. Check those out. Leave me comments below. I read them all. I love them. I try to respond. If not, I still read them. Thank you so much for those. Find me here. Find me on Twitter at Real Recaps. Be sure to spread the word. I'm really trying to grow this channel. So if you have friends into this show, please let them know about me. I really appreciate that as well. If you want to further support this show, check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com, Real Housewives Recaps. I cover all kinds of stuff. I'm working my way through Scary Island right now, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check that out. Thank you guys so much for everything. I really appreciate it, and have a fantastic week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.